Now, could time have any basis at all? Now for the last criteria of time's supposed existence, which I'll explain. Every event or object in every series of such is locked in position like train cars, either before or after another. There's no time element to reconfigure any of them. And it's inherent to time that each event in a series actually be described as past, present, and future, all three, which is internally contradictory since each of those three properties contradicts the other two. The claim that there's no contradiction since they're never all three simultaneously would require invoking the passage of time to explain why they're not, which would be circular reasoning. That is, a pragmatic defect in an argument whereby the premise needs as much explanation as the conclusion. In this case, a useless time exists because time exists. You can't even arrive at tomorrow by waiting on it, not ever, since by the time tomorrow arrives it would be another today. And instead of using the entropy principle, that is, everything eventually moves from order to disorder, to represent the so-called arrow of time, the expression arrow of time should be better served as a simplified explanation of the second law of thermodynamics. That's because without entropy or obvious changes in surroundings, you'd never be able to tell the difference between 1 million years BC and AD 30 million. And no laws of physics indicate that the past is any different from the present or potential future. So there'd be no indication that time existed there. So time is simply a way to measure things. For example, you can't show me a kilometer. You can point to a stretch of road, but a road it is. You can't show me a liter. You can point to a bottle of liquid, but a bottle of liquid it is. To be precise, quote-unquote time is a formula describing the ratio of one event to another, such as x decays y amount per z times that Earth revolves around our sun. In other words, nothing more than change. So in light of every aforementioned fact which opposes the common narrative, I must conclude that time does not exist. That is, in no other sense besides describing change or position of events. Therefore, I coined the word achronicist. That's because Kronos was the personification of time in Greek mythology. He's not to be confused with Kronos the Titan. He was instead regarded as a creator god, while the Titans were created beings. This father time figure was also said to have had a daughter, Ananke, the goddess of inevitability. From Kronos we get our English words chronic, chronicles, chronological, chronology, and others. So to be a chronicist would be a believer in time's existence, while the prefix a would be denial thereof, as in the word atheist. Hence, I'm an achronicist who promotes achronicism. Conclusions to be drawn from time's non-existence. One bad consequence of believing in time has been the doctrine of predestination, which is horribly unjust in the way many religious people define it. We achronicists ipso facto reject it. Another implication is that we can never reach or inhabit other planets outside our solar system. That's because that even at the speed of light, we'd have to travel nonstop for decades to reach a sufficient supply of other planets capable of supporting life. And it's universally accepted that nothing can travel faster than light speed. Taking shortcuts through a supposed space-time continuum via theoretical wormholes could never happen, since without time's existence, that whole scenario collapses. So we must care for what is likely our only available planet. And there's another implication. We can never escape the second law of thermodynamics, which inescapability is a chief argument in support of creationism and negation of macroevolution. This law states that everything physical irreversibly deteriorates. Without time's existence, this process can never be reversed. Well, if time existed, it could potentially be reversed. So we can never escape the eventual death of our planet and physical universe, perhaps millions of years hence, nor any impending judgment from God. And we therefore cannot use the excuse, whatever will be, and shouldn't say, whatever is going to happen, as if time is like a river pulling things along, to justify inaction. We cannot use the excuse, we are living in different times, to justify postmodernism. In fact, since time has no substance, this allows for a fascinating paradox. We can actually time travel, so to speak, actually recreating the past, any period we choose, by simply ceasing or undoing our current faulty actions and repeating healthy historical actions instead. Modern society can thus make all its present failures vanish. And thus, God himself is ignorant of the future, as he cannot know what's non-existent, namely time. And the word future never appears in the Bible. From this, we must certainly conclude that all manner of fortune tellers are scammers, and thus avoid them. And by knowing the quote-unquote future, it would already be decided free will would not exist. Instead, by exercising free will, we make our own future. It's up to us. Take care.